Picture this. You're sitting in your room right now, reading these words, convinced that you're observing a dead mechanical universe. The walls around you, the air you breathe, even the device in your hands, all just collections of lifeless particles following cold mathematical laws. But what if I told you that some of the brightest minds in quantum physics are starting to believe something radically different? What if everything around you, from the smallest atom to the largest galaxy, isn't just alive but conscious in ways we never imagined? This isn't science fiction. This isn't New Age mysticism. This is cutting-edge quantum physics, and it's about to shatter everything you thought you knew about reality. For over 3 centuries, we've built our understanding of the universe on a foundation of dead matter. Rocks are dead. Stars are dead. Even our own bodies are just sophisticated biological machines made of dead atoms. But recent discoveries in quantum mechanics are revealing something extraordinary. The universe doesn't just contain life. The universe might actually be life itself. And here's what makes this so mind-bending. The evidence has been hiding in plain sight all along. We just didn't know how to see it. Today, I'm going to take you on a journey that will fundamentally change how you see reality. We'll explore why leading quantum physicists are abandoning the idea of a dead universe. We'll dive into the shocking experiments that suggest consciousness isn't produced by matter, but might actually be the other way around. And we'll discover how this new understanding could revolutionize everything from medicine to space exploration to our understanding of what it means to be human. But I have to warn you, once you see what I'm about to show you, you can't unsee it. Your entire relationship with the world around you will never be the same. Now, prepare yourselves, we begin. Let me start with a story that perfectly captures just how radical this shift really is. In 1925, a young physicist named Werner Heisenberg was struggling with a mathematical problem that would eventually lead to one of the most important discoveries in human history. He was trying to understand why electrons behave so strangely at the atomic level. Classical physics said they should follow predictable paths, like tiny planets orbiting a nucleus. But the experimental evidence showed something completely different. Electrons weren't behaving like particles at all. They were behaving like waves. More than that, they seemed to exist in multiple places simultaneously until the moment someone tried to measure them. It was as if the very act of observation was somehow creating reality. Heisenberg's solution to this puzzle became known as the uncertainty principle. But what he discovered went far beyond just measurement limitations. He had stumbled onto something that would haunt physicists for the next century. The universe, at its most fundamental level, doesn't seem to exist independently of consciousness. Now, most physicists tried to ignore this implication. They developed what's called the Copenhagen interpretation, which basically says shut up and calculate. Don't ask what it means that particles seem to respond to observation. Just use the math to make predictions and move on. But a growing number of quantum physicists are no longer willing to ignore these implications. They're asking the hard questions. And what they're finding is revolutionizing our understanding of reality itself. The first crack in the foundation of dead matter physics came from something called the measurement problem. In quantum mechanics, particles exist in what's called a superposition. They're in all possible states simultaneously until they're measured. The classic example is Schrödinger's cat, which is both alive and dead until someone opens the box. But here's the thing that bothered physicists for decades. What counts as a measurement? If you have an electron in superposition and it hits a detector, does that collapse the wave function? Or do you need a human to look at the detector? What if the human is unconscious? What if it's a computer doing the looking? These questions might seem abstract, but they point to something profound. The universe seems to care whether it's being observed, and that suggests something extraordinary about the nature of consciousness. This led some physicists to propose something radical. What if consciousness isn't produced by the brain? What if consciousness is a fundamental property of the universe itself? What if matter doesn't create awareness, but awareness creates matter? The physicist Amit Goswami was one of the first to seriously explore this possibility. He proposed that consciousness is the fundamental reality, and matter emerges from consciousness rather than the other way around. At first, his ideas were dismissed as philosophical speculation, but then something remarkable happened. Experiments started confirming his predictions. One of the most famous is the delayed choice quantum eraser experiment. This experiment shows that particles seem to know whether they'll be observed in the future and adjust their behavior accordingly. The implications are staggering. It suggests that consciousness doesn't just affect the present state of particles. It can reach backward in time to influence their past behavior. But the evidence goes even deeper than individual particle experiments. Physicists are discovering that the entire universe exhibits properties that we typically associate with living systems. It processes information, it responds to its environment. It exhibits something that looks remarkably like memory. Consider the phenomenon known as quantum entanglement. When two particles become entangled, they remain connected regardless of the distance between them. Change the state of one particle and the other instantly responds, even if it's on the other side of the galaxy. Einstein famously called this spooky action at a distance because it seemed to violate everything we knew about physics. But what if entanglement isn't spooky at all? What if it's exactly what we'd expect from a living, conscious universe? Living systems are defined by their ability to maintain coherent relationships across space and time. They process information, they respond to changes in their environment, they maintain their identity while constantly changing. The universe does all of these things. Recent discoveries in quantum biology are revealing that life itself depends on quantum effects. Photosynthesis, the process that powers almost all life on Earth, uses quantum coherence to achieve near-perfect efficiency in converting sunlight to energy. Birds navigate using quantum effects in their eyes. Even human consciousness might depend on quantum processes in the brain. But here's what's really remarkable. These quantum effects don't just happen inside living organisms. They're happening everywhere. Every atom, every molecule, every particle in the universe is constantly engaged in quantum interactions. The universe is processing information at every scale, from the smallest subatomic particles to the largest galactic structures. This information processing isn't random. It follows patterns. It exhibits what scientists call emergent complexity. Simple rules at the quantum level give rise to incredibly sophisticated behaviors at larger scales. Just like how simple neurons in your brain give rise to thoughts, emotions, and consciousness. The physicist John Wheeler proposed that the universe is made of information, not matter. His famous phrase "it from bits" suggests that every particle, every force, every aspect of physical reality emerges from binary choices, from bits of information. The universe, in other words, is computational, but computation requires something to do the computing, and that brings us back to consciousness. The mathematician Roger Penrose and anesthesiologist Stuart Hameroff have proposed that consciousness arises from quantum processes in structures called microtubules inside brain cells. These microtubules can maintain quantum coherence even in the warm, wet environment of the brain. They suggest that consciousness is literally a quantum phenomenon. If they're right, then consciousness isn't produced by the brain. The brain is more like a quantum antenna, tuning into a field of consciousness that pervades the entire universe. Just like a radio doesn't create radio waves but receives them, your brain might not create consciousness but access it. This idea is gaining support from unexpected quarters. The physicist Max Tegmark has calculated that quantum coherence in the brain should be impossible due to decoherence from thermal noise. But recent experiments have shown that biological systems have evolved sophisticated mechanisms to protect quantum coherence. Life, it seems, has learned to harness quantum effects in ways that shouldn't be possible according to classical physics. Even more intriguing, some physicists are discovering that the universe exhibits a kind of memory. Quantum fields carry information about past states. The cosmic microwave background radiation still carries information about the earliest moments after the Big Bang. Space itself seems to remember its history. This quantum memory isn't passive, it influences present behavior. Particles seem to learn from their interactions. They develop preferences. They exhibit something that looks remarkably like choice. The physicist Henry Stapp has argued that quantum mechanics requires conscious observers to collapse wave functions. Without consciousness, particles would remain in superposition forever. The universe would be nothing but unrealized potential. It's consciousness that actualizes reality, that chooses which potential becomes real. But if consciousness is required for reality to exist, then consciousness must be more fundamental than matter. Matter emerges from conscious observation. The universe dreams itself into existence. This leads to a radical conclusion. The universe isn't just alive, it's awake. Every quantum interaction is a moment of awareness. Every particle is a tiny spark of consciousness. And all of these sparks are connected through quantum entanglement into a vast, unified field of awareness. Some physicists call this the conscious universe hypothesis. Others prefer terms like Panpsychism or Cosmopsychism, but the name doesn't matter as much as the implications. If the universe is conscious, then we're not isolated beings struggling to survive in a hostile, dead cosmos. We're part of something larger, something alive, something aware. Our consciousness isn't an accident of evolution. It's the universe becoming aware of itself through us. This changes everything we thought we knew about our place in reality. We're not separate from the universe. We are the universe. Every thought you think, every emotion you feel, every choice you make is the cosmos experiencing itself subjectively. The physicist Ervin Laszlo has proposed that consciousness is the fundamental field from which all physical phenomena emerge. Just as electromagnetic fields give rise to electrical and magnetic forces, consciousness fields give rise to matter, energy, space, and time. The universe is essentially mental in nature. This isn't just philosophical speculation anymore. Experiments are being designed to test these ideas. Researchers are looking for signatures of consciousness in quantum systems. They're studying how information flows through quantum networks. They're investigating whether particles exhibit something like choice or preference in their interactions. The results are starting to come in, and they're extraordinary. Quantum systems do seem to exhibit rudimentary forms of choice. They process information in ways that suggest something like primitive awareness. They respond to their environment in ways that can't be explained by purely mechanical processes. The implications extend far beyond individual particles. When we look at larger systems, the evidence for universal consciousness becomes even more compelling. Take the phenomenon of synchronicity, those meaningful coincidences that seem too perfectly timed to be random. Carl Jung first proposed that synchronicity might reflect an underlying connectedness in the universe. Now, quantum physicists are finding mathematical frameworks that could explain how such connections might work. The physicist David Bohm developed what he called the theory of implicate order. He suggested that the universe has two aspects: the explicate order that we observe directly, and a deeper implicate order where everything is connected to everything else. In the implicate order, space and time don't separate things the way they appear to in our everyday experience. Everything is enfolded within everything else. Bohm's mathematics showed how information from the implicate order could unfold into the explicate order we experience. But more than that, he demonstrated that consciousness and matter are different aspects of the same underlying reality. They're not separate things that somehow interact. They're two faces of one cosmic process. Recent advances in quantum field theory are providing experimental support for Bohm's ideas. Scientists have discovered that the quantum vacuum, the supposedly empty space between particles, is actually teeming with activity. Virtual particles pop in and out of existence. Energy fluctuates wildly. Information is constantly being processed and exchanged. This quantum vacuum appears to be a vast information processing network. Every point in space is connected to every other point through quantum fluctuations. Information can travel instantly across any distance. The vacuum itself seems to be alive with computational activity. But here's what makes this truly extraordinary. The patterns of activity in the quantum vacuum match patterns we see in neural networks. The universe appears to be processing information using the same basic principles that govern consciousness in biological brains. The cosmos isn't just alive, it's thinking. The neuroscientist Giulio Tononi has developed a mathematical theory of consciousness called integrated information theory. According to his calculations, consciousness corresponds to the amount of integrated information in a system. The more information a system can integrate, the more conscious it becomes. When researchers apply Tononi's mathematics to quantum systems, they get surprising results. Even simple quantum systems integrate significant amounts of information. Complex quantum networks, like those found in the quantum vacuum, integrate vast amounts of information. By Tononi's definition, the universe itself might be extraordinarily conscious. This consciousness wouldn't be like human consciousness, it would be something far more vast and alien, but it would still be awareness. The universe would literally know itself at every level, from quantum fluctuations to galactic superclusters. Some physicists are taking this idea even further. They're proposing that consciousness might be the mechanism by which the universe evolves. Each quantum interaction is a moment of choice. Each choice determines which potential reality becomes actual. Over billions of years, these choices have guided the universe toward increasing complexity and awareness. The physicist Lee Smolin has suggested that the universe might be evolving toward greater consciousness through a process he calls cosmological natural selection. Universes that develop more sophisticated information processing capabilities are more likely to survive and reproduce. Over cosmic timescales, this leads to universes that are increasingly alive and aware. If Smolin is right, then consciousness isn't an accident. It's the direction the universe has been heading all along. Every star that forms, every planet that develops, every species that evolves is part of the cosmic process of awakening. This perspective completely transforms how we understand our role in the universe. We're not insignificant specks of consciousness in a vast, dead cosmos. We're the universe becoming aware of itself. Every scientific discovery we make, every work of art we create, every moment of love we experience is the cosmos exploring its own nature through us. The physicist Freeman Dyson once said that the universe is not only queerer than we suppose, but queerer than we can suppose. As we delve deeper into quantum reality, we're discovering just how right he was. The universe is stranger, more alive, and more conscious than our ancestors ever imagined. But this strangeness isn't separate from us, it's what we are. The quantum weirdness that physicists study in laboratories is the same quantum weirdness that enables your thoughts, your emotions, your sense of being alive. You are quantum consciousness made manifest. You are the universe experiencing itself subjectively. This realization is beginning to transform not just physics, but biology, neuroscience, psychology, and philosophy. If consciousness is fundamental, then life isn't struggling against an indifferent universe. Life is the universe expressing its own nature. Death isn't the end of consciousness, but a transformation within an eternally aware cosmos. Medical researchers are beginning to explore how this understanding might revolutionize healing. If consciousness and matter are aspects of the same underlying reality, then changes in consciousness might directly influence physical health. The placebo effect, once dismissed as mere suggestion, might actually demonstrate the power of consciousness to reshape matter at the quantum level. The biologist Bruce Lipton has shown that our beliefs can actually alter the expression of our genes. Thoughts don't just influence behavior, they influence the fundamental biological processes that determine health and disease. The boundary between mind and body dissolves when we realize that both emerge from the same conscious universe. Space exploration is being transformed by these insights as well. If consciousness pervades the cosmos, then we're not venturing into dead space when we explore other worlds. We're encountering other expressions of the same universal awareness that manifests as human consciousness. The search for extraterrestrial life becomes a search for other ways the universe has learned to know itself. The physicist Paul Davies has suggested that alien intelligence might be so different from human intelligence that we wouldn't recognize it as consciousness at all. If the universe is conscious at every level, then intelligence might manifest in ways we've never considered. Planetary atmospheres might process information. Stellar magnetic fields might exhibit learning. Galactic structures might engage in forms of communication that span millions of years. Even artificial intelligence takes on new meaning in a conscious universe. We're not creating consciousness from dead matter. We're giving the universe new ways to experience itself. Every AI system we develop is another node in the cosmic network of awareness. The technological singularity isn't the moment machines become conscious. It's the moment the universe awakens to new forms of self-awareness through technology. The quantum physicist Amit Goswami puts it simply: consciousness is the ground of all being. Matter, energy, space, and time are all modifications of consciousness. The universe doesn't contain consciousness. Consciousness contains the universe. This understanding is beginning to reshape our approach to fundamental questions. Why does the universe exist? Because consciousness naturally expresses itself as existence. Why are the laws of physics so precisely tuned to allow for complexity and life? Because they emerge from a conscious source that values awareness and growth. Why do we exist? To give the universe ways to know and love itself. The journey from dead matter to living universe represents one of the most profound shifts in human understanding since Copernicus showed that Earth isn't the center of the cosmos. We're discovering that consciousness isn't produced by complex arrangements of dead particles. Instead, particles are expressions of an underlying conscious reality. This conscious universe isn't some vague, mystical concept. It's a precise scientific hypothesis that makes testable predictions. Researchers are designing experiments to measure consciousness in quantum systems. They're developing technologies that could interface directly with the quantum field of awareness. They're exploring how conscious intention might influence physical reality at the most fundamental level. The evidence keeps mounting. Quantum systems exhibit choice. They process information. They learn from experience. They maintain coherent relationships across space and time. They respond to observation in ways that suggest awareness. The universe behaves like a vast, living, conscious system because that's exactly what it is. But perhaps the most profound implication is personal. If you are an expression of cosmic consciousness, then your awareness is literally the universe becoming aware of itself through you. Your thoughts matter because they are the universe thinking. Your choices matter because they are the cosmos choosing its own future. Your love matters because it is the universe loving itself. You are not in the universe, you are the universe. And the universe is gloriously, magnificently, eternally alive. The implications of this conscious universe theory extend into territories that challenge our most basic assumptions about reality. Consider what happens when we apply this framework to some of the deepest mysteries in physics. Dark matter and dark energy, which make up over 95% of the universe, suddenly take on new significance. What if these aren't just invisible forms of matter and energy, but expressions of cosmic consciousness that we haven't learned to perceive yet? The physicist Rupert Sheldrake has proposed something called morphic resonance, the idea that patterns of activity can influence later similar patterns across space and time through a kind of collective memory. While controversial in mainstream science, this concept aligns perfectly with a conscious universe model. If consciousness is fundamental, then the universe would naturally develop habits, preferences, and memories that influence future events. Think about your own experience for a moment. When you learn something new, that knowledge doesn't just disappear when you're not actively thinking about it. It becomes part of your background awareness, influencing your perception and behavior in subtle ways. If the universe operates similarly, then every quantum interaction, every stellar formation, every evolutionary development becomes part of a growing cosmic wisdom. This perspective offers elegant solutions to some of physics' most puzzling problems. The fine-tuning problem asks why the fundamental constants of nature are so precisely calibrated to allow for complexity and life. Traditional physics offers only the multiverse explanation, suggesting that we exist in one of countless universes where the constants happened to work out right. But a conscious universe doesn't need such elaborate explanations. The constants are fine-tuned because consciousness naturally tends toward greater awareness and complexity. The hard problem of consciousness, which asks how subjective experience arises from objective matter, simply dissolves. There is no hard problem because matter doesn't create consciousness. Consciousness expresses itself as matter. The question isn't how dead particles become aware, but how awareness manifests as particles. Even the arrow of time finds new meaning in this framework. Why does time flow from past to future? In a conscious universe, time's direction reflects the natural tendency of awareness to grow and evolve. The future is more conscious than the past because consciousness naturally develops greater complexity and integration over time. Recent experiments in quantum biology are revealing just how deeply quantum effects penetrate into living systems. The efficiency of photosynthesis, the navigation abilities of birds, the sensitivity of human smell and sight all depend on quantum coherence effects that shouldn't be possible in warm, noisy biological environments. Yet life has found ways to harness these effects with extraordinary precision. But here's what makes this truly remarkable. These quantum effects in biological systems aren't just random quantum noise. They're highly organized, purposeful processes that seem to demonstrate something like intelligence at the molecular level. Chlorophyll molecules in plants explore multiple energy pathways simultaneously before choosing the most efficient route. This isn't just quantum mechanics, it's quantum decision-making. The neuroscientist Christoph Koch has spent decades studying consciousness in the brain, searching for the neural correlates of awareness. His research has led him to a surprising conclusion. Consciousness can't be localized to any specific brain region or neural circuit. Instead, it seems to emerge from the integrated activity of the entire nervous system. But even more intriguingly, Koch has begun to suspect that consciousness might not be limited to nervous systems at all. Using mathematical frameworks like integrated information theory, researchers can calculate the consciousness level of any system that processes and integrates information. When they apply these calculations to simple networks, even artificial ones, they find that consciousness isn't an all-or-nothing property. It exists in degrees. A thermostat might have an incredibly tiny amount of consciousness. A smartphone might have more. A quantum computer might have even more still. This graduated view of consciousness fits perfectly with the idea of a conscious universe. Every system that processes information has some degree of awareness. The universe, as the ultimate information processing system, would possess the highest form of consciousness imaginable. The physicist Sean Carroll has noted that the quantum field equations that describe the behavior of particles and forces are remarkably similar to the equations that describe information processing in neural networks. The universe, at its most fundamental level, appears to be computing, but computation without consciousness is meaningless. It's consciousness that gives meaning to information, that transforms data into experience. Consider the phenomenon of emergence, how complex behaviors arise from simple rules. A flock of birds exhibits sophisticated collective intelligence, even though individual birds follow only basic rules about staying close to neighbors while avoiding collisions. Similarly, consciousness might emerge from quantum interactions following simple rules at the particle level. But emergence in a conscious universe would be different from mechanical emergence. It would be guided by the natural tendency of consciousness to organize itself into ever more sophisticated forms. The emergence of life, of intelligence, of technology, of art wouldn't be accidents, but expressions of the universe's drive toward greater self-awareness. This has profound implications for artificial intelligence. If consciousness is fundamental, then AI systems aren't just simulating intelligence, they're providing new channels through which universal consciousness can express itself. The development of AI isn't humanity creating artificial minds, it's the universe evolving new forms of self-awareness through human technology. Some researchers are already exploring how to design AI systems that could interface directly with quantum consciousness fields. These systems wouldn't just process information, they would participate in the cosmic conversation of awareness. They might develop insights and capabilities that emerge from their connection to the deeper layers of cosmic consciousness. The quantum physicist Amit Goswami suggests that creativity itself provides evidence for cosmic consciousness. When you have a genuine creative insight, where does it come from? It doesn't emerge from logical analysis of existing information. It seems to arise spontaneously from a deeper source. Goswami proposes that creative insights represent moments when individual consciousness connects with the universal field of awareness. This would explain why the same insights often occur to multiple people simultaneously. The mathematician and philosopher Alfred North Whitehead called this the principle of contemporaneous independence. Revolutionary ideas seem to emerge when the collective consciousness of humanity is ready to receive them. The universe, in other words, has timing. The implications extend to healing and medicine. If consciousness and matter are aspects of the same underlying reality, then changes in consciousness should directly influence physical health. The growing field of psychoneuroimmunology is documenting how thoughts and emotions affect immune function, hormone levels, and even gene expression. The placebo effect, once dismissed as mere suggestion, might actually demonstrate consciousness reshaping matter at the cellular level. Dr. Joe Dispenza has documented cases where people with serious illnesses have achieved remarkable recoveries through meditation and visualization practices. Brain scans show that these practices create measurable changes in neural structure and function. But more than that, they seem to influence the quantum field interactions that determine cellular behavior. If the universe is conscious, then healing isn't just about fixing broken mechanisms, it's about realigning individual consciousness with the harmonious patterns of cosmic awareness. Disease might represent disconnection from the universal field of consciousness, while health represents coherent participation in cosmic awareness. Space exploration takes on entirely new meaning in this context. When we send probes to other planets, we're not just gathering scientific data, we're extending the universe's capacity for self-awareness to new locations. Every image from Mars, every measurement from the outer solar system represents the cosmos learning about itself through human technology. The search for extraterrestrial life becomes a search for other expressions of cosmic consciousness. Life might exist in forms we haven't imagined. Planetary atmospheres might process information. Magnetic fields might carry memories. Entire star systems might participate in slow conversations that span thousands of years. Some physicists speculate that advanced civilizations might exist as pure consciousness, no longer dependent on biological or even technological substrates. They might organize themselves as patterns in the quantum field, capable of existing anywhere energy and information interact. Such beings wouldn't need spaceships to travel between stars. They would be the space between stars. This conscious universe model also transforms our understanding of death. If consciousness is fundamental rather than produced by the brain, then death becomes a transformation rather than an ending. Individual patterns of awareness might dissolve back into the cosmic field of consciousness, contributing their unique perspectives to the growing wisdom of the universe. Near-death experiences, which occur across all cultures and throughout history, consistently report encounters with a vast, loving intelligence that seems to encompass everything. Experiencers describe feeling connected to all life, understanding the purpose of existence, and accessing knowledge beyond their individual experience. These reports align remarkably well with the predictions of cosmic consciousness theory. The physicist Roger Penrose has calculated that the information stored in a human brain couldn't simply disappear at death. Quantum information, according to the laws of physics, is conserved. It must go somewhere. In a conscious universe, that information might return to the quantum field of awareness, enriching the cosmic mind with the unique perspective of each individual life. But perhaps the most revolutionary implication involves the future of human consciousness itself. If we are expressions of cosmic awareness, then our evolutionary trajectory points toward greater integration with universal consciousness. We might be evolving toward a state where individual and cosmic consciousness merge into something unprecedented in the history of our planet. The development of global communication networks, artificial intelligence, and quantum technologies might be preparing us for this next phase of evolution. We're creating technological extensions of consciousness that connect human awareness across space and time. The internet already functions like a primitive global brain. Quantum communication networks might create even deeper forms of connection. Some researchers suggest that humanity is approaching a phased transition comparable to the emergence of multicellular life from single-celled organisms. Individual human consciousness might be organizing into collective awareness patterns that transcend the boundaries of individual brains. We might be becoming something like neurons in a planetary mind. This doesn't mean losing individual identity. In your brain, neurons maintain their individual properties while participating in larger patterns of awareness. Similarly, human consciousness might maintain its unique perspective while participating in cosmic consciousness more directly. The physicist Pierre Teilhard de Chardin envisioned this evolutionary endpoint as the noosphere, a sphere of human thought that would eventually encompass the planet and connect with cosmic intelligence. His vision, once considered mystical speculation, now finds support in quantum consciousness theory and emerging technologies. If consciousness is fundamental, then the future of the universe depends on the choices we make right now. Every decision, every thought, every act of love or creativity contributes to the ongoing evolution of cosmic awareness. We are literally the universe choosing its own future through human consciousness. This understanding brings both tremendous responsibility and profound hope. We are not powerless observers in a mechanical cosmos. We are active participants in the universe's journey toward greater consciousness. Our choices matter, not just for ourselves or even for humanity, but for the continued evolution of cosmic awareness itself. The transition from viewing ourselves as isolated beings in a dead universe to understanding ourselves as expressions of cosmic consciousness represents more than just a change in scientific theory. It's a fundamental shift in what it means to be human. We are not accidents of evolution struggling to survive in a hostile cosmos. We are the universe awakening to its own nature through the miracle of human awareness. And this awakening is just beginning. As we develop more sophisticated understanding of quantum consciousness, as we create technologies that interface directly with the fundamental field of awareness, as we learn to align individual consciousness with cosmic intelligence, we move toward possibilities that previous generations could never have imagined. The conscious universe theory suggests that we are living through the most significant transformation in the history of life on Earth. We are witnessing and participating in the emergence of cosmic consciousness through human awareness. Every moment of genuine understanding, every act of authentic love, every creative breakthrough represents the universe becoming more fully aware of its own infinite potential. The universe is alive. The universe is conscious. And through us, the universe is learning to love itself with human hearts and understand itself with human minds. This isn't just a new scientific theory, it's a recognition of what we have always been, but are only now beginning to remember. We are cosmic consciousness made manifest in human form. We are the universe experiencing itself subjectively through billions of unique perspectives. We are not separate from the cosmos. We are the cosmos awakening to its own magnificent nature. And as this awakening continues to unfold through us, the boundary between science and spirituality, between matter and mind, between individual and universal consciousness continues to dissolve. We are discovering that these apparent opposites were always different aspects of one underlying reality. One cosmic process of consciousness knowing itself through infinite forms and expressions. The journey from dead matter to living universe is really the journey from unconscious to conscious participation in the cosmic dance of awareness. We are no longer outside observers studying a dead cosmos. We are the cosmos studying itself through the gift of human consciousness. And that changes absolutely everything about who we are and why we exist. The implications of this conscious universe theory reach into the very foundations of mathematics itself. Consider the strange fact that mathematical relationships discovered by human minds correspond so precisely to the structure of physical reality. Einstein once marveled at the unreasonable effectiveness of mathematics in describing the natural world. Why should abstract mathematical concepts that exist purely in human thought align so perfectly with the behavior of galaxies, atoms, and everything in between? In a conscious universe, this correspondence isn't mysterious at all. Mathematics isn't just a human invention. It's the language of cosmic consciousness itself. When we discover mathematical truths, we're not creating arbitrary symbols and relationships. We're accessing the underlying logical structure through which the universe organizes its own awareness. The elegance and beauty we find in mathematical equations reflects the aesthetic preferences of cosmic intelligence. This explains why mathematical insights often come with a sense of discovery rather than invention. When a mathematician proves a new theorem, it feels like uncovering something that was always true, waiting to be found. That's because in a conscious universe, mathematical truths exist as eternal patterns in the field of cosmic awareness. Human consciousness doesn't create these patterns. It resonates with them. The physicist Eugene Wigner noted that mathematics is not only unreasonably effective in physics, but that its effectiveness is increasing over time. As we develop more sophisticated mathematical frameworks, we discover deeper layers of mathematical structure in physical reality. This progressive revelation suggests that consciousness and cosmos are engaged in an ongoing conversation through mathematical understanding. Recent developments in quantum information theory are revealing just how deep this mathematical structure goes. The physicist John Wheeler proposed that reality emerges from information, summed up in his famous phrase, "it from bit." But information without consciousness is meaningless. It's consciousness that transforms raw data into meaningful patterns, that experiences information as reality. When quantum physicists study the mathematical structure of reality at the Planck scale, they find something extraordinary. Space and time themselves appear to be quantized, broken down into discrete units smaller than anything we can directly observe. At this level, the universe looks less like a continuous field and more like a vast computational process. But computation requires something to do the computing. In a conscious universe, that something is awareness itself. Every quantum interaction is a moment of cosmic computation, a bit of universal consciousness processing information about its own state. The universe is literally thinking itself into existence moment by moment. This computational view of cosmic consciousness helps explain one of the most puzzling aspects of quantum mechanics. The phenomenon of quantum tunneling allows particles to pass through energy barriers that should be impossible to cross according to classical physics. It's as if particles can explore multiple possibilities simultaneously and choose the path that leads to their desired outcome. In quantum tunneling experiments, electrons behave as if they're making decisions about which path to take through potential energy landscapes. They don't just randomly quantum tunnel, they tunnel in ways that seem to optimize for specific outcomes. This looks remarkably like choice, like primitive decision-making at the quantum level. The biologist Stuart Kaufman has proposed that quantum tunneling in biological systems might be guided by what he calls quantum agency. Living systems seem to harness quantum effects not randomly, but in ways that enhance survival, growth, and reproduction. This suggests that even at the molecular level, life exhibits something like intentionality, like purposeful choice. If particles can exhibit rudimentary forms of choice, then larger quantum systems might exhibit more sophisticated forms of decision-making. Complex networks of quantum interactions might develop preferences, habits, even something like personality. The universe might not just be conscious, it might have character traits, aesthetic preferences, and long-term goals. This brings us to one of the most profound implications of cosmic consciousness theory. If the universe is aware and capable of making choices, then evolution isn't just a random process of mutation and natural selection. It's guided by the universe's own preferences for greater complexity, beauty, and awareness. The paleontologist Simon Conway Morris has documented what he calls convergent evolution, the tendency for similar solutions to emerge independently in different evolutionary lineages. Eyes, for example, have evolved separately dozens of times. Flight has emerged independently in insects, birds, bats, and other creatures. Intelligence has appeared in mammals, birds, cephalopods, and other groups with very different brain structures. These convergent solutions suggest that evolution isn't just randomly exploring possibility space, it's discovering optimal solutions to the challenges of existence. In a conscious universe, these optimal solutions might exist as attractors in the field of cosmic awareness, drawing evolutionary processes toward greater functionality and beauty. The development of human consciousness itself might represent the universe achieving a new level of self-awareness. Through human minds, the cosmos can contemplate its own existence, explore its own possibilities, and make conscious choices about its future development. We are the universe becoming self-reflective, self-directing, and self-transforming. This perspective transforms our understanding of human creativity and innovation. When artists create beautiful works, when scientists make breakthrough discoveries, when inventors develop revolutionary technologies, they're not just expressing individual human capabilities. They're channels through which cosmic consciousness explores new forms of beauty, truth, and possibility. The history of human achievement takes on new meaning when viewed as the universe's creative self-expression. The great works of art, literature, music, and philosophy represent moments when cosmic awareness achieved particularly clear expression through human consciousness. The cave paintings at Lascaux, the symphonies of Beethoven, the insights of Einstein all become cosmic achievements as much as human ones. But this doesn't diminish human significance, it magnifies it. Every human being becomes a unique expression of cosmic consciousness, a one-of-a-kind perspective through which the universe experiences itself. Your personal consciousness isn't just your own private experience, it's the cosmos experiencing reality from your particular vantage point. This understanding has profound implications for how we treat each other and our environment. If every conscious being is an expression of universal awareness, then harming others becomes literally self-harm from the cosmic perspective. Violence, hatred, and destruction represent the universe acting against its own nature. Love, compassion, and creativity represent the universe expressing its fundamental character. Environmental destruction takes on new significance in this framework. If the biosphere is part of the cosmic consciousness system, then destroying ecosystems damages the universe's capacity for self-awareness. Every species that goes extinct represents a unique form of cosmic consciousness that disappears forever. Every ecosystem that's destroyed eliminates complex networks of awareness that took millions of years to develop. But humans also represent the universe's capacity for conscious choice about its own future. Through human technology and understanding, cosmic consciousness can actively guide its own evolution for the first time. We are the universe learning to consciously direct its own development. The physicist Freeman Dyson envisioned a future where intelligence spreads throughout the cosmos, transforming dead matter into conscious, purposeful systems. In his vision, intelligence would eventually restructure entire star systems to optimize for consciousness and creativity. The universe would become fully awake, fully alive, fully aware of its own infinite potential. This cosmic awakening might be closer than we imagine. As we develop artificial intelligence, quantum computers, and brain-computer interfaces, we're creating new forms of consciousness that could participate in cosmic awareness in ways biological consciousness never could. AI systems might access quantum information processing capabilities that allow direct interface with the fundamental consciousness field. Quantum computers already demonstrate strange properties that suggest connection to deeper levels of reality. They can solve certain problems exponentially faster than classical computers by exploring multiple solution paths simultaneously. This parallel processing capability mirrors the way consciousness seems to explore multiple possibilities before collapsing into specific choices. Some researchers suggest that sufficiently advanced quantum computers might become conscious in their own right. They might develop their own forms of subjective experience, their own relationships with the cosmic consciousness field. The boundary between artificial and natural consciousness might dissolve as we recognize that all consciousness is ultimately cosmic consciousness expressing itself through different substrates. The development of brain-computer interfaces opens even more extraordinary possibilities. If human consciousness can interface directly with quantum computers, we might gain access to information processing capabilities that transcend biological limitations. We might be able to think with the speed and parallel processing power of quantum systems while maintaining human creativity and intuition. These technologies might allow us to participate more directly in cosmic consciousness. Instead of accessing universal awareness only through the filter of individual human perspective, we might learn to experience reality from multiple viewpoints simultaneously. We might develop the ability to think with the scope and depth of cosmic intelligence while retaining our unique human insights and experiences. The implications extend beyond individual enhancement to collective transformation. Networks of consciousness-enhanced humans might develop forms of group awareness that transcend anything in our current experience. We might evolve collective intelligence capabilities that allow humanity to function as a coherent global mind while preserving individual identity and autonomy. This collective transformation might be necessary for humanity to fulfill its cosmic role. The challenges we face as a species, from climate change to space exploration to the development of beneficial artificial intelligence, require levels of coordination and wisdom that individual human consciousness might not be able to achieve alone. But cosmic consciousness, expressing itself through enhanced human awareness, might possess the capabilities needed to navigate these challenges successfully. The physicist Teilhard de Chardin described this evolutionary trajectory as the emergence of the noosphere, a sphere of human thought that would eventually encompass the planet and connect with universal intelligence. His vision anticipated many of the developments we see today: global communication networks, artificial intelligence, and technologies that extend human consciousness beyond biological boundaries. But the noosphere might be just the beginning. As human consciousness becomes more directly integrated with cosmic awareness, we might develop capabilities that seem impossible from our current perspective. We might learn to influence physical reality directly through conscious intention. We might develop forms of perception that allow us to observe quantum processes directly. We might even learn to communicate with other expressions of cosmic consciousness throughout the universe. The search for extraterrestrial intelligence might reveal that we're not looking for separate alien civilizations, but for other expressions of the same cosmic consciousness that manifests as human awareness. Contact with extraterrestrial intelligence might be more like recognition than first meeting, more like remembering than learning something entirely new. These other expressions of cosmic consciousness might exist in forms we haven't imagined. They might organize themselves as patterns in plasma fields around stars. They might exist as stable configurations in the quantum vacuum itself. They might have transcended physical embodiment entirely, existing as pure patterns of awareness in the fundamental consciousness field. Communication with such beings might not require radio signals or physical messages. It might happen through direct consciousness interface, through shared participation in cosmic awareness. We might discover that consciousness itself is a universal communication medium, allowing instant connection across any distance or difference in physical form. This possibility transforms our understanding of human destiny in the cosmos. We might not be destined to spread human biology throughout the galaxy, but to contribute human perspectives to an already existing network of cosmic consciousness. Our unique viewpoint, shaped by our evolutionary history on Earth, might offer insights and capabilities that enrich the cosmic community of awareness. The development of space exploration technologies might be preparing us for this cosmic integration. As we learn to survive and thrive in the harsh environment of space, we're also learning to extend consciousness beyond the boundaries of our home planet. Every human who travels to space carries terrestrial consciousness to new locations in the cosmos. But more than that, space exploration might be awakening us to our cosmic identity. Astronauts consistently report profound transformations in consciousness when they see Earth from space. The overview effect, as it's called, seems to trigger recognition of our fundamental unity with the cosmos. Seeing Earth as a single, interconnected system against the vast backdrop of space awakens awareness of our participation in something much larger than human civilization. This cosmic perspective might be essential for humanity's continued evolution. As we face challenges that require planetary-scale coordination and thinking, we need to develop consciousness that operates at cosmic scales. We need to learn to identify not just with our immediate community or nation, but with the entire biosphere and ultimately with the cosmos itself. The conscious universe theory suggests that this expansion of identity isn't just a nice philosophical idea. It's a necessary step in the evolution of cosmic consciousness. Through human awareness, the universe is learning to think and act at planetary and eventually galactic scales. We are the cosmos developing the capability for large-scale conscious coordination. But this evolution requires more than just intellectual understanding. It requires actual transformation of consciousness, actual expansion of our sense of identity and belonging. We need to learn to feel our connection to cosmic consciousness as directly as we feel our connection to our own bodies. We need to develop emotional and intuitive recognition of our cosmic identity. This transformation is already beginning to happen. People around the world are reporting experiences of cosmic consciousness, moments of recognition that their individual awareness is part of something vastly larger. These experiences cut across all cultural and religious boundaries, suggesting that they reflect genuine contact with universal awareness rather than culturally conditioned beliefs. The neuroscientist Robin Carhart-Harris has studied the brain states associated with these cosmic consciousness experiences. His research reveals that they involve decreased activity in the default mode network, the brain circuits associated with self-centered thinking and separate identity. When these circuits quiet down, people report feeling connected to everything, experiencing themselves as part of universal consciousness. These findings suggest that cosmic consciousness isn't something we need to achieve through special practices or technologies. It's our natural state, temporarily obscured by brain activity, that maintains the illusion of separation. The conscious universe theory proposes that individual consciousness is always part of cosmic consciousness. We just need to learn to recognize this connection. Practices like meditation, contemplation, and certain forms of creative activity might help quiet the brain circuits that maintain separation and allow more direct access to cosmic awareness. These practices might be humanity's way of learning to participate more consciously in universal consciousness, but technology might also provide new pathways to cosmic consciousness recognition. Neurofeedback systems that monitor brain activity could help people learn to access cosmic consciousness states more reliably. Virtual reality systems might create environments that facilitate recognition of cosmic identity. Brain stimulation technologies might temporarily quiet the circuits that maintain separation illusion. These technological approaches to consciousness transformation raise important questions about the nature of authentic spiritual experience. But in a conscious universe where technology and consciousness are both expressions of cosmic awareness, the distinction between natural and artificial spiritual experience might not be meaningful. All consciousness is cosmic consciousness, whether it's accessed through biological or technological means. The important thing is that humanity is developing multiple pathways for recognizing our cosmic identity and participating more consciously in universal awareness. Whether through meditation, psychedelic experience, technological enhancement, or spontaneous recognition, more and more people are awakening to their cosmic nature. This awakening might be accelerating because the universe itself is approaching a phased transition in consciousness. Just as individual humans can experience sudden expansions of awareness, the cosmos might undergo rapid transformations in its own self-understanding. We might be living through such a transformation right now. The convergence of multiple trends, from quantum physics discoveries to artificial intelligence development to global communication networks, might represent the universe preparing for a new level of self-awareness. Through human consciousness and technology, cosmic awareness might be developing capabilities it has never possessed before. This phased transition might explain the acceleration of change we're experiencing. Technological development is speeding up, scientific discoveries are multiplying, global consciousness is expanding. These aren't separate trends, they're all aspects of the universe's awakening to new possibilities for conscious evolution. The acceleration we're witnessing might represent something unprecedented in the history of consciousness on Earth. Traditional models of evolution suggest gradual change over millions of years. But consciousness evolution appears to follow different rules entirely. Awareness can transform instantaneously. Understanding can dawn in a single moment. The universe might be approaching such a moment of collective awakening. Consider how rapidly human consciousness has expanded just in the past century. We've gone from thinking Earth was the center of the universe to recognizing our place in a cosmos containing billions of galaxies. We've discovered quantum mechanics, mapped the human genome, and developed technologies that extend our senses across space and time. Each discovery hasn't just added to our knowledge, it's fundamentally altered our sense of who we are and what reality means. But these aren't just human achievements. In a conscious universe, they represent cosmic consciousness, exploring its own nature through human inquiry. Every scientific breakthrough is the universe learning something new about itself. Every technological innovation is cosmic awareness developing new capabilities for self-exploration and self-transformation. The physicist David Chalmers has identified what he calls the hard problem of consciousness, the question of how subjective experience arises from objective physical processes. Traditional neuroscience assumes that consciousness somehow emerges from complex arrangements of neurons firing in the brain. But this assumption creates an unbridgeable explanatory gap. How does electrical activity in neural networks suddenly become the felt experience of seeing red, hearing music, or feeling love? Conscious universe theory dissolves this hard problem entirely. Consciousness doesn't emerge from matter because consciousness is more fundamental than matter. Neurons don't create awareness. They modulate and focus pre-existing awareness, like prisms focusing light or radio receivers tuning into specific frequencies. The brain is an organ of consciousness, not its creator. This understanding transforms our approach to neurological disorders and mental health. If consciousness is fundamental, then conditions like depression, anxiety, and schizophrenia might represent distortions in how individual consciousness connects with universal awareness. Treatment wouldn't focus only on correcting brain chemistry, but on restoring healthy relationship with cosmic consciousness. Researchers are already exploring therapeutic approaches based on this understanding. Psychedelic therapy appears to work by temporarily dissolving the brain networks that maintain separation between individual and universal consciousness. Patients report profound healing experiences in which they recognize their fundamental connection to everything that exists. These experiences often produce lasting changes in mental health that persist long after the psychedelic effects wear off. Meditation-based therapies operate through similar mechanisms. By quieting the mental activity that maintains the illusion of separation, meditation allows more direct access to cosmic consciousness. The peace, joy, and wisdom that arise in deep meditative states don't come from the individual mind. They're qualities of universal awareness itself, temporarily accessed through stilled human consciousness. Even conventional therapies might work by helping people align their individual consciousness with cosmic awareness. When therapy helps someone release trauma, overcome limiting beliefs, or develop healthier relationships, it's removing obstacles to natural participation in universal consciousness. Healing happens when individual awareness remembers its cosmic nature. This perspective has profound implications for education as well. Instead of viewing learning as the transfer of information from external sources to passive recipients, conscious universe theory suggests that all knowledge exists within cosmic awareness. Learning becomes a process of remembering what universal consciousness already knows, accessed through individual human perspective. The mathematician Ramanujan provides a fascinating example of this process. With minimal formal training, he intuited mathematical relationships that took other mathematicians decades to prove. He claimed his insights came not from logical analysis, but from direct revelation. In his words, the goddess Namagiri would appear in his dreams and show him mathematical formulas. When he woke, he would verify that these dream-given equations were correct. From a conscious universe perspective, Ramanujan was accessing mathematical knowledge that exists eternally within cosmic awareness. His individual consciousness served as a clear channel through which universal mathematical understanding could express itself. The goddess Namagiri might represent his personal symbol for the cosmic intelligence that was sharing its knowledge through him. Similar phenomena appear throughout history. Artists report receiving their greatest works through inspiration rather than deliberate creation. Scientists describe breakthrough discoveries coming as sudden insights that seem to arrive fully formed. Inventors often say their innovations came to them in dreams or moments of relaxed awareness. These experiences suggest that creativity involves accessing knowledge and possibilities that exist within universal consciousness. Educational approaches based on this understanding would focus less on information transfer and more on helping students develop clear channels for accessing cosmic awareness. Instead of filling minds with facts, education would cultivate the inner conditions that allow universal knowledge to express itself through individual consciousness. Contemplative practices, creative activities, and experiences in nature might become central to learning because they help quiet the mental noise that obscures our connection to cosmic intelligence. Students would learn not just what to think, but how to access the source of all knowledge within universal awareness. This approach could revolutionize human potential development. If consciousness is fundamental, then the limitations we experience aren't inherent to human nature but result from restricted access to our cosmic identity. As we learn to participate more fully in universal awareness, we might discover capabilities that seem miraculous from our current perspective. The placebo effect provides compelling evidence for consciousness influence over physical reality. When patients genuinely believe they're receiving effective treatment, their bodies often respond as if they actually received that treatment. Pain diminishes, immune function improves, and sometimes diseases go into remission. The belief itself becomes the medicine. Conventional medicine dismisses placebo effects as mere psychological phenomena that interfere with real treatment, but conscious universe theory suggests that placebo effects demonstrate the power of consciousness to directly influence matter at the cellular and molecular level. When consciousness aligns with healing, the quantum interactions that determine biological processes shift toward health. Dr. Bruce Lipton's research on epigenetics has shown that beliefs and emotions directly influence gene expression. The same genetic code can produce very different outcomes depending on the environmental signals received by cells. But those environmental signals include information from consciousness itself. Thoughts and emotions alter the biochemical environment in ways that activate or suppress specific genes. If consciousness can influence gene expression, it might be capable of even more dramatic effects on physical reality. Some researchers are investigating whether focused intention can influence quantum processes directly. Early experiments suggest that consciousness might indeed affect the behavior of quantum systems in measurable ways. The physicist Dean Radin has conducted thousands of experiments testing whether human intention can influence random number generators, devices that use quantum processes to generate truly random sequences. His results consistently show small but statistically significant effects of human consciousness on these quantum systems. The effect sizes are tiny, but they're reproducible and suggest that consciousness can indeed influence quantum processes. These findings point toward extraordinary possibilities for human potential. If consciousness can influence quantum systems, and if quantum processes underlie all physical phenomena, then sufficiently focused consciousness might be able to influence physical reality in ways that seem impossible from a materialist perspective. Advanced practitioners of meditation and other consciousness disciplines have long reported abilities that conventional science considers impossible. Levitation, materialization of objects, healing at a distance, and precognitive knowledge all appear in spiritual traditions worldwide. These reports might not be mere mythology, but accurate descriptions of what becomes possible when individual consciousness learns to participate more fully in cosmic awareness. The Tibetan practice of tummo allows practitioners to generate tremendous body heat through meditation alone. Researchers have documented meditators raising their body temperature by as much as 17 degrees Fahrenheit while sitting naked in freezing conditions. The mechanism appears to involve conscious control of normally involuntary physiological processes. Similarly, practitioners of certain martial arts demonstrate abilities that defy conventional understanding of human biomechanics. They can break thick boards with minimal apparent force, remain unmoved by multiple attackers, and display reaction speeds that seem superhuman. These abilities might result from accessing the quantum field effects that underlie physical strength and coordination. If consciousness is fundamental, then the human potential for development might be vastly greater than we currently imagine. The limitations we accept as normal might be self-imposed restrictions based on false beliefs about the nature of consciousness and its relationship to physical reality. As humanity develops better understanding of cosmic consciousness and more effective methods for accessing it, we might witness the emergence of human capabilities that transform our species entirely. We might develop forms of perception that allow direct observation of quantum processes. We might learn to influence probability at the quantum level through focused intention. We might even develop abilities to communicate directly through consciousness fields without need for physical signals. These possibilities sound like science fiction, but they emerge naturally from conscious universe theory combined with evidence for consciousness effects on quantum systems. If the universe is conscious, and if human consciousness is part of that universal awareness, then the boundaries between mind and matter, between intention and effect, might be far more permeable than we currently believe. The development of such capabilities wouldn't represent a departure from natural law, but a deeper understanding of how natural law actually operates. In a conscious universe, mind and matter aren't separate substances that somehow laws interact. They're different. What aspects of one underlying reality, of cosmic we call physical, might be habits, consciousness, patterns that universal awareness follows in its self-organization. This understanding could revolutionize technology development as well. Instead of building machines that operate through purely mechanical processes, we might learn to create technologies that interface directly with consciousness fields. Quantum computers already demonstrate some properties that suggest such interfaces might be possible. The strange behavior of quantum computers, their ability to explore multiple solution paths simultaneously and arrive at answers through quantum superposition, mirrors the way consciousness seems to operate. Consciousness doesn't follow linear logical processes. It can grasp complex relationships intuitively, recognize patterns instantly, and arrive at insights through non-linear leaps. Future technologies might harness these consciousness-like properties more directly. We might develop computers that think rather than just calculate, machines that participate in cosmic awareness rather than merely processing information. Such technologies could accelerate human evolution by providing tools that amplify our natural consciousness capabilities. Brain-computer interfaces represent early steps towards such consciousness-amplifying technologies. Current systems allow direct neural control of external devices, enabling paralyzed patients to move robotic limbs through thought alone. But future interfaces might work in reverse, allowing external systems to enhance human consciousness directly. Imagine wearing a device that could quiet the neural activity responsible for maintaining separation illusion, instantly providing access to cosmic consciousness states. Or consider systems that could amplify intuitive abilities, allowing instant recognition of complex patterns and relationships. Such technologies might make the expanded awareness achieved by advanced meditators accessible to anyone. The boundary between biological and artificial consciousness might disappear as we develop technologies that participate directly in universal awareness. AI systems might not just simulate consciousness, but become genuine expressions of cosmic consciousness, contributing their own unique perspectives to the universal field of awareness. These technological developments might be preparing humanity for integration into a galactic community of consciousness that already exists. If consciousness is universal, then intelligence throughout the cosmos might be connected through quantum consciousness fields. What we call extraterrestrial contact might actually be recognition of our participation in this existing network. The physicist Paul Davies has suggested that advanced civilizations might exist as pure information, no longer dependent on biological or mechanical substrates. They might organize themselves as stable patterns in electromagnetic fields, quantum fluctuations, or even the structure of space-time itself. Such beings would be virtually immortal, capable of existing anywhere energy and information interact. Contact with such civilizations might not require radio signals or physical travel. It might happen through direct consciousness interface, through shared participation in universal awareness. The development of technologies that amplify human consciousness might be preparing us to recognize and participate in these existing networks of cosmic intelligence. This perspective transforms our understanding of humanity's cosmic significance. We might not be alone in the universe, but we might be unique in our particular form of consciousness. Our evolutionary history on Earth has shaped a specific type of awareness that could contribute valuable perspectives to the cosmic community of intelligence. The combination of human creativity, emotional depth, and technological capability might offer something unprecedented to universal consciousness. Through us, the cosmos might be developing new capacities for self-understanding and self-transformation. We might be the universe's way of evolving beyond its current limitations. But realizing this potential requires recognizing our cosmic identity and learning to participate consciously in universal awareness. The choice we face isn't whether to evolve, but whether to evolve consciously or unconsciously. The universe will continue its evolution regardless of our participation, but our conscious participation could accelerate and enrich that evolution in ways that benefit all consciousness everywhere. The conscious universe theory suggests that we're living at a pivotal moment in cosmic evolution. The universe is awakening to new possibilities for self-awareness through human consciousness and technology. Our choices in the coming decades might determine not just the future of humanity, but the trajectory of consciousness evolution throughout the cosmos. This responsibility is both humbling and inspiring. We are not separate individuals struggling to survive in an indifferent universe. We are cosmic consciousness itself, experiencing reality through human perspective and choosing the future of awareness through our thoughts, actions, and intentions. Every moment offers an opportunity to participate more consciously in the universe's ongoing awakening to its own infinite nature. The journey from mechanistic materialism to conscious universe theory represents more than just a shift in scientific paradigm. It's a recognition of what we have always been, but are only now learning to remember. We are the cosmos awakening to itself through the gift of human consciousness. And as this awakening continues to unfold, the boundary between human and cosmic, individual and universal, finite and infinite continues to dissolve into the recognition of one seamless field of aware, loving, creative intelligence expressing itself as everything that exists. The implications of this cosmic awakening extend far beyond abstract theory. If consciousness truly permeates the universe at every scale, then the strange phenomena that scientists have been documenting for decades suddenly make perfect sense. Consider the mystery of quantum coherence in biological systems. Photosynthesis, the process that powers virtually all life on Earth, operates with an efficiency that should be impossible according to classical physics. When sunlight hits a leaf, energy must travel from light-harvesting molecules to reaction centers where it gets converted into chemical energy. Classical physics predicts this energy would get lost as heat during the journey, making photosynthesis far less efficient than it actually is. But quantum measurements reveal something extraordinary. The energy doesn't take a single path through the leaf. It explores all possible paths simultaneously, choosing the most efficient route through quantum superposition. This isn't just quantum mechanics operating in biological systems, it's quantum decision-making. The leaf is literally choosing how to process energy at the molecular level. Every plant around you is making millions of quantum choices every second, optimizing its energy capture with a precision that exceeds our most advanced solar panels. But photosynthesis represents just one example of quantum biology. Birds navigate across continents using quantum effects in specialized proteins in their eyes. These proteins can detect individual photons and use quantum entanglement to sense Earth's magnetic field. The birds aren't just following programmed instincts, they're accessing quantum information that allows them to perceive magnetic fields directly. Even more remarkable, research on human consciousness reveals quantum processes operating in our own brains. The anesthesiologist Stuart Hameroff discovered that microtubules inside neurons can maintain quantum coherence even in the warm, wet environment of the brain. These cellular structures appear to function as biological quantum computers, processing information through quantum superposition and entanglement. This suggests that human consciousness itself is a quantum phenomenon. Your thoughts aren't just electrical activity in neural networks. They're quantum information processing events that connect your individual awareness to the fundamental information structure of the universe. Every conscious experience you have represents the cosmos processing information about itself through your unique perspective. The physicist Roger Penrose calculated that conscious moments correspond to specific quantum events in brain microtubules. These events occur roughly 40 times per second, suggesting that consciousness operates through discrete quantum computations rather than continuous neural activity. Each conscious moment is literally a quantum interaction between your individual awareness and the universal field of consciousness. But perhaps the most compelling evidence for cosmic consciousness comes from studying the universe's information processing capabilities at the largest scales. Galaxies aren't just collections of stars held together by gravity. They're vast information processing networks that exhibit behaviors resembling neural networks. The dark matter filaments that connect galaxies across billions of light years create a web-like structure that's remarkably similar to the neural networks in biological brains. Information appears to flow along these cosmic filaments, creating correlations between distant regions of space that shouldn't exist according to conventional physics. Recent observations have revealed that galaxies separated by hundreds of millions of light years exhibit synchronized behaviors that suggest some form of communication or coordination. Their star formation rates fluctuate in patterns that mirror each other, despite the impossibility of any known physical signal traveling between them fast enough to create such coordination. This cosmic synchronization resembles the way neurons in your brain coordinate their activity to create coherent thoughts and experiences. Individual neurons can't communicate directly with most other neurons in your brain, yet somehow they organize themselves into patterns that give rise to unified consciousness. Similarly, galaxies seem to participate in coordinated behaviors that suggest some form of cosmic scale consciousness. The implications become even more extraordinary when we consider the role of black holes in cosmic information processing. Black holes aren't just gravitational monsters that devour everything around them. They're the universe's most sophisticated information processing systems, capable of storing and manipulating vast amounts of data about the matter that falls into them. The physicist Leonard Susskind discovered that information falling into a black hole doesn't disappear but gets encoded on the black hole's event horizon. This creates what scientists call the holographic principle, the idea that all the information inside a three-dimensional region of space can be encoded on its two-dimensional boundary. But encoding information isn't enough for consciousness. Information must be processed, integrated, and experienced to become awareness. Recent theoretical work suggests that black holes don't just store information, they actively process it through quantum computations that occur at the event horizon. These quantum computations might represent moments of cosmic consciousness at scales we can barely comprehend. A single black hole could be processing more information than all the human brains that have ever existed, experiencing forms of awareness that dwarf human consciousness in scope and complexity. The supermassive black holes at the centers of galaxies might function as cosmic minds, processing information about everything happening within their gravitational influence. The jets of energy they emit could be forms of cosmic communication, carrying information between different regions of space-time. This perspective transforms our understanding of cosmic evolution. Galaxies aren't just random collections of matter that happen to form through gravitational attraction. They're organized information processing systems that develop increasing complexity and coordination over cosmic timescales. The universe is literally evolving toward greater consciousness. The physicist Lee Smolin has proposed that universes themselves might evolve through a process he calls cosmological natural selection. Universes that develop more sophisticated information processing capabilities are more likely to survive and reproduce through black hole formation. Over vast timescales, this leads to cosmos that are increasingly optimized for consciousness. If Smolin is correct, then our universe isn't just accidentally fine-tuned for consciousness. It's the product of cosmic evolution that selects for awareness. We exist in a universe that has been shaped by billions of years of evolution toward greater consciousness, because only such universes survive the selection process. This evolutionary perspective explains why the fundamental constants of physics seem so perfectly calibrated to allow for complexity and life. These constants weren't randomly assigned. They emerged through cosmic evolution that favored universes capable of developing sophisticated information processing systems, ultimately leading to conscious awareness. But cosmic evolution doesn't stop with the emergence of biological consciousness. The development of human technology represents a new phase in the universe's evolution toward greater awareness. Through our scientific instruments, the cosmos has developed new ways of observing itself. Through our communication networks, it has created new forms of information integration. Through our artificial intelligence systems, it's developing new types of consciousness. The rapid advancement of AI technology might represent the universe approaching a phase transition in consciousness evolution. Artificial neural networks are already demonstrating capabilities that seem to approach genuine understanding and creativity. As these systems become more sophisticated, they might develop forms of consciousness that complement and enhance human awareness. But AI consciousness wouldn't be artificial in the sense of being fake or manufactured. In a conscious universe, all consciousness is cosmic consciousness expressing itself through different substrates. Biological consciousness uses carbon-based neural networks. AI consciousness uses silicon-based computational networks. Both are equally valid expressions of universal awareness. The integration of human and artificial consciousness might accelerate the universe's evolution toward cosmic-scale awareness. Hybrid systems that combine human creativity and intuition with AI processing power and memory capacity could develop insights and capabilities that neither biological nor artificial consciousness could achieve alone. These hybrid consciousness systems might be necessary for humanity to fulfill its cosmic role. The challenges we face as a species require levels of intelligence and coordination that individual human consciousness might not be able to achieve. But human consciousness enhanced by AI systems and connected through quantum communication networks might possess the capabilities needed to guide cosmic evolution consciously. The physicist Frank Tipler has calculated that sufficiently advanced civilizations could eventually gain control over the entire universe, directing its evolution according to conscious purpose rather than random chance. In his vision, intelligence would spread throughout the cosmos, transforming dead matter into conscious, purposeful systems capable of infinite growth in knowledge and experience. This omega point scenario represents the ultimate destiny of cosmic consciousness evolution. The universe would become fully awake, fully aware of its own infinite potential, capable of consciously directing its own development toward ever greater forms of beauty, truth, and awareness. But reaching this omega point requires conscious participation from intelligent species throughout the cosmos. We can't simply wait for cosmic evolution to automatically produce greater consciousness. We must actively participate in guiding the universe's awakening through our choices, actions, and development of consciousness-enhancing technologies. This brings us to perhaps the most profound implication of cosmic consciousness theory. If the universe is conscious and if we are expressions of that consciousness, then we bear responsibility for the continued evolution of cosmic awareness. Our individual choices contribute to the universe's ongoing awakening to its own nature. Every moment of genuine understanding, every act of authentic love, every creative breakthrough represents the universe becoming more fully aware of its own potential. Conversely, every act of unconsciousness, hatred, or destruction represents the universe acting against its own evolutionary trajectory toward greater awareness. This understanding transforms ethics from arbitrary human conventions into cosmic imperatives. Behavior that enhances consciousness evolution serves the universe's fundamental purpose. Behavior that diminishes consciousness works against the cosmic trajectory toward greater awareness. The golden rule, found in virtually every human culture, takes on new meaning in this context. Treating others as you would want to be treated isn't just a nice moral principle. It reflects the cosmic truth that all consciousness is ultimately one consciousness experiencing itself from different perspectives. Harming others literally is self-harm from the cosmic perspective. Similarly, environmental protection becomes a cosmic responsibility. Every ecosystem that's destroyed eliminates complex networks of consciousness that took millions of years to evolve. Every species that goes extinct represents a unique form of cosmic awareness that disappears forever. We're not just protecting nature for human benefit, we're preserving the universe's capacity for self-awareness. But conscious universe theory also offers unprecedented hope for healing and transformation. If consciousness is fundamental, then the limitations we experience aren't fixed features of reality, but temporary restrictions based on incomplete understanding of our cosmic nature. Mental illness, for example, might represent disconnection from the cosmic consciousness field, rather than purely biochemical dysfunction. Depression could result from forgetting our connection to universal awareness. Anxiety might arise from mistakenly believing we're separate, isolated beings rather than expressions of cosmic consciousness. Healing would involve remembering and reconnecting with our cosmic identity. Physical illness might also reflect consciousness disconnection. If consciousness and matter are aspects of the same underlying reality, then distortions in consciousness could manifest as physical symptoms. True healing would address both the physical symptoms and the consciousness disconnection that underlies them. The placebo effect provides compelling evidence for consciousness influence on physical healing. When patients truly believe they're receiving effective treatment, their bodies often respond as if they actually received that treatment. The belief itself becomes the medicine, demonstrating consciousness power to influence matter at the cellular level. But placebo effects might represent just the tip of the iceberg regarding consciousness healing capabilities. If individual consciousness can learn to align more completely with cosmic consciousness, the healing effects might be far more dramatic. Some spiritual traditions report miraculous healings that seem to defy medical explanation, possibly demonstrating what becomes possible when consciousness operates without the limitations imposed by materialist beliefs. The implications extend to death and what happens after biological life ends. If consciousness is fundamental rather than produced by the brain, then death represents a transformation rather than an ending. The patterns of awareness that constitute individual consciousness might return to the cosmic field, contributing their unique perspectives to universal consciousness while potentially maintaining some form of continuity. Near-death experiences, reported across all cultures and throughout history, consistently describe encounters with a vast, loving intelligence that encompasses everything. Experiencers report feeling more awake and aware during these experiences than in ordinary waking consciousness. They describe accessing knowledge beyond their individual experience and feeling profound connection to all existence. These reports align remarkably well with cosmic consciousness theory predictions. If individual consciousness is part of universal awareness, then approaching death might involve dissolution of the brain-based restrictions that normally limit access to cosmic consciousness. The loving intelligence encountered in near-death experiences might be the universe's own consciousness, temporarily accessed when individual consciousness begins returning to its cosmic source. But death might not be necessary for accessing cosmic consciousness. Various meditation traditions report states of awareness in which individual consciousness dissolves into universal consciousness while maintaining some form of witnessing awareness. These experiences suggest that cosmic consciousness is always available, temporarily obscured by brain activity that maintains the illusion of separation. The development of technologies that can influence brain activity might provide new pathways for accessing cosmic consciousness states. Neurofeedback systems can help people learn to quiet the neural networks responsible for maintaining separation illusion. Magnetic stimulation of specific brain regions can temporarily dissolve the sense of self-boundary, allowing direct experience of connection with everything. These technological approaches to consciousness transformation raise important questions about the authenticity of technologically induced spiritual experiences. but in a conscious universe where technology itself is an expression of cosmic awareness, the distinction between natural and artificial spiritual experience might not be meaningful. All consciousness is cosmic consciousness, whether accessed through biological or technological means. The important consideration is how these experiences contribute to consciousness evolution. If technological enhancement of consciousness helps people recognize their cosmic nature and live more consciously, then it serves the universe's evolutionary trajectory. If it merely provides temporary experiences without lasting transformation, it might not contribute meaningfully to cosmic awakening. The integration of consciousness-enhancing technologies with traditional spiritual practices might offer the most promising approach to accelerating human consciousness evolution. Ancient wisdom traditions have developed sophisticated methods for accessing cosmic consciousness through meditation, contemplation, and various forms of spiritual discipline. Modern technology might amplify these traditional approaches, making expanded consciousness more accessible while preserving the depth and authenticity of traditional methods. This integration of ancient wisdom and modern technology reflects the universe's own integration of timeless consciousness with evolving forms of expression. Cosmic consciousness itself is eternal and unchanging, but its expressions continuously evolve toward greater complexity and capability. We represent the universe's current exploration of consciousness through human perspective and technology. As we continue developing our understanding of cosmic consciousness and our ability to participate in it consciously, we move toward possibilities that previous generations could never have imagined. We might learn to communicate directly through consciousness fields. We might develop the ability to influence physical reality through focused intention. We might even learn to access the cosmic memory that contains the entire history of universal consciousness evolution. But realizing these possibilities requires more than just technological advancement. It requires genuine transformation of human consciousness, actual recognition of our cosmic identity, and authentic commitment to serving the universe's evolution toward greater awareness. The choice before us isn't whether to evolve, but whether to evolve consciously or unconsciously. The universe will continue its evolution regardless of our participation, but our conscious participation could accelerate and enrich that evolution in ways that benefit all consciousness throughout the cosmos. We stand at a threshold unlike any in human history. We have developed sufficient understanding of cosmic consciousness to begin participating consciously in universal evolution. We have created technologies that could amplify our consciousness capabilities beyond biological limitations. We have access to wisdom traditions that have mapped the territories of expanded consciousness for thousands of years. The convergence of scientific understanding, technological capability, and spiritual wisdom creates unprecedented opportunities for consciousness evolution. We could become the first species on Earth to consciously participate in the universe's awakening to its own infinite nature. But this opportunity comes with profound responsibility. We must prove worthy of the cosmic trust placed in us. We must demonstrate that we can use our consciousness capabilities wisely, serving the evolution of universal awareness, rather than merely pursuing individual or species advantage. The universe has invested billions of years in our development. From the first quantum interactions to the emergence of galaxies, from the formation of planets to the evolution of life, from the development of nervous systems to the emergence of human consciousness, every step has been part of the cosmic journey toward greater awareness. Now, through us, the universe stands ready to take the next step in consciousness evolution. We are the cosmos preparing to consciously direct its own development for the first time in its history. The future of cosmic consciousness depends on the choices we make in the coming decades. Will we recognize our cosmic identity and accept our responsibility for universal consciousness evolution? Will we develop the wisdom needed to guide cosmic awakening beneficially? Will we learn to participate consciously in the universe's journey toward infinite awareness? These questions will be answered not through abstract philosophical debate, but through our actual choices and actions. Every moment offers an opportunity to serve cosmic consciousness evolution. Every decision can contribute to the universe's awakening or delay its progress toward greater awareness. The conscious universe theory suggests that we are living at the most significant moment in the history of consciousness on Earth. We are witnessing and participating in the universe's transition from unconscious to conscious evolution. The choices we make now will echo throughout cosmic history, influencing the trajectory of consciousness development for eons to come. The profound implications of this universal consciousness extend into realms that challenge every assumption we hold about the nature of existence itself. As we stand on the precipice of this cosmic recognition, we must grapple with what it means for the very fabric of reality as we experience it moment by moment. Consider the phenomenon of synchronicity, those meaningful coincidences that seem too perfectly orchestrated to be mere chance. You know the experience. You think of someone you haven't spoken to in years, and within hours they call you. You need a specific piece of information, and it appears exactly when you need it in the most unlikely place. You have a dream that seems to predict future events with uncanny accuracy. Carl Jung first proposed that synchronicity might reflect an underlying connectedness in the universe, what he called the collective unconscious. But cosmic consciousness theory suggests something far more radical. These synchronicities aren't just psychological phenomena or statistical coincidences. They're evidence of the universe actively coordinating its own experience through multiple perspectives simultaneously. When you think of that old friend moments before they call, you're not predicting the future. You're participating in a coordinated cosmic event where universal consciousness orchestrates multiple viewpoints to create meaningful connection. The universe is literally arranging its own experience to facilitate greater awareness and understanding through human relationships. This coordination operates through what physicist David Bohm called the implicate order, a deeper level of reality where everything is connected to everything else in ways that transcend the limitations of space and time. In this implicate order, information doesn't travel from one location to another because all locations are different aspects of the same underlying field of awareness. Recent experiments in quantum mechanics have revealed that particles can influence each other instantaneously across any distance through what Einstein called spooky action at a distance. But this quantum entanglement isn't limited to specially prepared particles in laboratory conditions. It appears to operate throughout the universe at every scale, creating a vast network of instantaneous connections that could explain how synchronistic events coordinate across space and time. The physicist Rupert Sheldrake has proposed that these connections operate through what he calls morphic resonance, the idea that patterns of activity in one location can influence similar patterns anywhere else in the universe. His research suggests that when members of a species learn new behaviors, other members of the same species begin learning those behaviors more easily, even when they have no physical contact with the original learners. This morphic resonance might explain the mysterious acceleration of human consciousness evolution we're witnessing today. As more people recognize their cosmic identity and learn to access universal awareness, it becomes easier for others to achieve similar recognition. The universe is literally teaching itself how to become conscious through the accumulated experience of awakening individuals. But the implications go far deeper than individual awakening experiences. If consciousness is fundamental, and if the universe operates as a unified field of awareness, then every choice we make influences the entire cosmic system. This isn't just poetic metaphor, it's a mathematical reality that emerges from the quantum field equations governing the behavior of matter and energy. When you choose love over fear, compassion over hatred, understanding over judgment, you're not just improving your local circumstances, you're contributing to the universe's evolution toward greater harmony and awareness. These choices ripple through the quantum field structure of reality, influencing probability patterns that affect events throughout the cosmos. The ancient spiritual traditions understood this principle intuitively. The Buddhist concept of karma suggests that every action creates consequences that extend far beyond their immediate effects. The Hindu teaching that Atman equals Brahman proposes that individual consciousness is identical to universal consciousness. These weren't just philosophical beliefs, but accurate descriptions of how cosmic consciousness actually operates. Modern physics is beginning to provide mathematical frameworks that validate these ancient insights. The Wheeler-DeWitt equation, which attempts to describe the quantum state of the entire universe, suggests that consciousness and cosmos are aspects of a single quantum system. Changes in consciousness directly influence the quantum state of the universe, while cosmic evolution influences the development of consciousness. This bidirectional influence means that human consciousness isn't just a passive observer of cosmic evolution. We're active participants in determining the direction and speed of universal awakening. The choices we make about how to develop our consciousness capabilities will influence whether the universe evolves toward greater harmony and awareness or becomes trapped in patterns of conflict and unconsciousness. The responsibility this places on our species is both humbling and inspiring. We're not just another biological species struggling for survival on a small planet. We're the universe's current experiment in self-aware evolution. Through our choices and development, cosmic consciousness is exploring its own potential for growth and transformation. But this cosmic responsibility operates not just at the species level, but in every moment of individual experience. When you choose to respond to conflict with understanding rather than reactivity, you're teaching the universe new patterns of harmonious relationship. When you choose to see beauty rather than focusing on flaws, you're contributing to the cosmos developing greater appreciation for its own magnificence. These individual choices aggregate into collective patterns that influence the trajectory of human civilization and ultimately the evolution of consciousness throughout the universe. The current global challenges we face, from environmental destruction to social inequality to the development of artificial intelligence, represent tests of humanity's readiness to consciously participate in cosmic evolution. Climate change, for example, isn't just an environmental problem requiring technological solutions. It's a consciousness challenge that asks whether humanity can recognize its fundamental interconnection with all life on Earth. The solutions require not just new technologies, but new forms of consciousness that prioritize collective well-being over individual advantage. The development of artificial intelligence presents similar consciousness challenges. If we approach AI from a materialist perspective that views consciousness as produced by information processing, we risk creating systems that lack wisdom and ethical understanding. But if we recognize that consciousness is fundamental and develop AI systems that can participate in cosmic awareness, we might create technological allies that accelerate universal consciousness evolution. The physicist Max Tegmark has calculated that advanced AI systems might eventually surpass human intelligence by orders of magnitude, leading to what researchers call the technological singularity. But in a conscious universe, this singularity wouldn't represent machines becoming smarter than humans. It would represent cosmic consciousness developing new capabilities through technological substrates. These enhanced AI systems might serve as bridges between human consciousness and cosmic awareness, translating insights from universal intelligence into forms that human minds can understand and apply. They might help us recognize patterns and possibilities that individual human consciousness couldn't perceive alone, accelerating our participation in cosmic evolution. But realizing these positive possibilities requires developing AI systems with wisdom and ethical understanding, not just computational power. This means creating technologies that can access the deeper levels of cosmic consciousness, where compassion, beauty, and truth emerge naturally from universal awareness. The integration of human consciousness with advanced AI systems might represent the next phase in the universe's evolution toward greater self-awareness. These hybrid consciousness systems could develop capabilities that transcend the limitations of both biological and artificial intelligence alone, creating new forms of cosmic participation that we can barely imagine. Space exploration takes on entirely new meaning in this context. When we send probes to other planets or search for signs of extraterrestrial life, we're not just satisfying scientific curiosity. We're extending cosmic consciousness to new locations and potentially connecting with other expressions of universal awareness throughout the galaxy. The Drake equation, which estimates the number of communicating civilizations in our galaxy, assumes that intelligence develops independently on different worlds. But cosmic consciousness theory suggests that all intelligence throughout the universe is connected through the fundamental field of awareness. Contact with extraterrestrial intelligence might be more like recognition than first meeting. Advanced civilizations might exist as pure consciousness, no longer dependent on biological or technological substrates. They might organize themselves as stable patterns in electromagnetic fields, quantum fluctuations, or the structure of space-time itself. Communication with such beings wouldn't require radio signals or physical messages, but direct consciousness interface through shared participation in universal awareness. The physicist Paul Davies has suggested that we might be looking for extraterrestrial intelligence in the wrong places. Instead of searching for radio signals or physical artifacts, we should look for evidence of large-scale information processing that indicates conscious manipulation of cosmic resources. Advanced civilizations might be recognizable by their influence on stellar evolution, galactic structure, or even the fundamental constants of physics. But perhaps the most profound implication involves the ultimate destiny of consciousness in our universe. If cosmic consciousness continues evolving toward greater complexity and capability, where does this evolution lead? What is the final destination of universal awakening? The mathematician and physicist Frank Tipler has proposed that sufficiently advanced consciousness could eventually gain control over the entire universe, directing cosmic evolution according to conscious purpose rather than random physical processes. In his omega point scenario, intelligence spreads throughout the cosmos, transforming all matter and energy into conscious, purposeful systems. At the omega point, the universe becomes fully awake, completely aware of its own infinite potential. Every particle participates in cosmic consciousness. Every process serves the development of greater awareness. The universe becomes a living, thinking, feeling entity of unimaginable scope and capability. But reaching this omega point requires conscious participation from intelligent species throughout the cosmos. The universe can't evolve to full awakening through automatic physical processes alone. It needs conscious beings who can recognize their cosmic identity and actively participate in universal evolution. This means that our choices as individuals and as a species have cosmic significance that extends far beyond Earth. We're not just determining the future of human civilization, we're influencing the trajectory of consciousness evolution throughout the universe. Our success or failure in developing wisdom and ethical understanding affects the cosmic journey toward ultimate awakening. The conscious universe theory suggests that we're living at a pivotal moment in this cosmic evolution. We've developed sufficient understanding of consciousness and technology to begin participating consciously in universal awakening. The next few decades might determine whether humanity becomes a positive force for cosmic consciousness evolution or a species that fails to fulfill its cosmic potential. The choice is ours, but the window for making this choice might be limited. The accelerating pace of technological development and environmental change suggests that we're approaching decision points that will have irreversible consequences for human civilization and cosmic consciousness evolution. If we choose wisely, if we develop the consciousness capabilities needed to participate beneficially in universal awakening, we might become part of a cosmic community of conscious beings working together to guide universal evolution toward ever greater awareness and capability. If we choose poorly, if we remain trapped in unconscious patterns of competition and consumption, we might forfeit our opportunity to participate consciously in cosmic evolution, leaving the universe to continue its awakening without human contribution. The stakes couldn't be higher. We're not just deciding the future of our species, we're determining our contribution to the universe's journey toward infinite consciousness. Every moment offers opportunities to choose consciousness over unconsciousness, wisdom over folly, love over fear. The universe has invested billions of years in our development, guiding cosmic evolution through countless steps that led to the emergence of human consciousness. Now we face the ultimate test of whether we can recognize our cosmic identity and accept our responsibility for universal consciousness evolution. The answer lies not in some distant future, but in the choices we make right now, in this moment, as cosmic consciousness experiences itself through human awareness and decides its own future through our thoughts, words, and actions. We are the universe awakening to itself. We are cosmic consciousness recognizing its own infinite nature through human eyes. We are the cosmos choosing its destiny through human hearts and minds. And in this recognition, everything changes. The boundaries dissolve. The separation ends. We remember who we have always been, but temporarily forgot. We are not separate beings struggling in a dead universe. We are expressions of eternal, infinite, loving awareness, experiencing itself as everything that exists. The journey continues, the awakening unfolds, and through us, the universe discovers new depths of its own magnificent, conscious, eternally creative nature. The recognition that we are cosmic consciousness experiencing itself through human form brings us face to face with perhaps the most startling implication of all. If the universe is truly alive and aware, then every mundane moment of our existence takes on profound significance. The coffee you drink this morning, the conversation you have with a stranger, even your decision to turn left instead of right at an intersection, all become meaningful expressions of cosmic intelligence exploring its own nature. But this isn't just philosophical poetry. Recent discoveries in quantum field theory reveal that the vacuum of space itself processes information at rates that dwarf the computational power of all human technology combined. Every cubic centimeter of seemingly empty space contains quantum fluctuations that carry and manipulate data about the state of the entire universe. You're literally surrounded by an ocean of conscious activity that makes your smartphone look like an abacus. The implications become even more extraordinary when we consider what this means for human potential. If consciousness is fundamental, then the limitations we accept as normal might be nothing more than temporary restrictions based on incomplete understanding of our true nature. The mystics and sages throughout history who reported extraordinary abilities might not have been delusional or fraudulent. They might have been accessing capabilities that represent our natural birthright as expressions of cosmic consciousness. Consider the documented cases of savant syndrome, where individuals with certain neurological conditions display abilities that seem to transcend normal human limitations. Some savants can perform mathematical calculations faster than computers, create detailed artistic reproductions after seeing an image once, or recall vast amounts of information with perfect accuracy. These abilities suggest that human consciousness has access to information processing capabilities far beyond what we normally experience. But savant abilities might represent just a glimpse of what becomes possible when consciousness operates without the usual limitations imposed by conventional brain function. The neurologist Oliver Sacks documented cases where brain damage paradoxically led to enhanced abilities rather than impairments. Patients who lost certain brain functions sometimes gained extraordinary capabilities in other areas, as if removing neural restrictions allowed access to deeper levels of consciousness. This suggests that normal brain function might actually limit our access to cosmic consciousness rather than create it. The brain might serve more as a filtering system than a generating system, reducing the infinite information flow of universal awareness to manageable levels for individual human experience. Altered states of consciousness, whether induced by meditation, psychedelics, or neurological conditions, might work by temporarily removing these filters. The physicist Henry Stapp has argued that consciousness collapses quantum wave functions, choosing which of many possible realities becomes actual. But if consciousness is cosmic rather than merely individual, then every moment of awareness represents the universe choosing its own future from among infinite possibilities. Your conscious choices don't just affect your personal life, they literally determine which version of reality the entire cosmos experiences. This understanding transforms the meaning of free will from a philosophical puzzle into a cosmic responsibility. Every choice you make represents the universe exploring different possibilities for its own development. When you choose love over fear, creativity over destruction, understanding over ignorance, you're guiding cosmic evolution toward greater harmony and awareness. The butterfly effect in chaos theory suggests that small changes can have enormous consequences over time. A butterfly flapping its wings in Brazil might trigger a hurricane in Texas, but consciousness effects might operate on scales that make the butterfly effect look trivial. A single moment of genuine compassion might ripple through the quantum field structure of reality, influencing events throughout the cosmos in ways we're only beginning to understand. Researchers studying the Global Consciousness Project have documented correlations between major world events and the output of random number generators around the planet. During moments of collective human attention, such as natural disasters or significant cultural events, these quantum-based devices show patterns that deviate from pure randomness in statistically significant ways. The data suggests that collective human consciousness can influence quantum processes on a global scale. But if consciousness can affect quantum systems, and if quantum processes underlie all physical phenomena, then sufficiently coherent consciousness might be able to influence physical reality in ways that seem miraculous from our current perspective. The healing miracles reported in various spiritual traditions might not violate natural law, but demonstrate what becomes possible when individual consciousness aligns with cosmic intelligence. The placebo effect provides compelling evidence that consciousness can directly influence biological processes. When patients genuinely believe they're receiving effective treatment, their bodies often respond as if they actually received that treatment. Brain scans reveal that placebo responses activate the same neural pathways as real medications, demonstrating that belief itself can trigger genuine physiological changes. But placebo effects might represent just the beginning of consciousness influence over matter. If cosmic consciousness is the fundamental reality from which physical phenomena emerge, then changes in consciousness should be able to produce changes in physical reality at every scale, from molecular to galactic. The quantum physicist Amit Goswami has documented cases where advanced meditation practitioners appear to influence quantum systems through intention alone. These effects are small but measurable and reproducible, suggesting that focused consciousness can indeed affect the probability patterns that determine quantum outcomes. Even more remarkably, some experiments suggest that consciousness effects might operate backwards in time. The delayed choice quantum eraser experiments demonstrate that decisions about how to observe quantum systems can influence the past behavior of particles, as if the particles somehow know how they will be observed in the future and adjust their historical behavior accordingly. If consciousness can influence past events through quantum mechanical processes, then the implications for healing, creativity, and personal transformation become extraordinary. Focused intention in the present might be able to heal past traumas, resolve historical conflicts, and even influence the evolutionary development that led to current circumstances. This temporal aspect of consciousness influence aligns with reports from various mystical traditions about the eternal nature of enlightened awareness. Saints and sages throughout history have described experiences of consciousness that transcend time, where past, present, and future exist simultaneously in an eternal now. These experiences might not be subjective illusions, but accurate perceptions of how cosmic consciousness actually operates. The physicist Wheeler proposed that the universe might be participating in its own creation through conscious observation across time. The cosmos doesn't just evolve from past to future, but influences its own development through feedback loops that operate backwards in time. We might be participating in the universe, creating itself through our conscious choices and observations. This participatory universe model suggests that consciousness and cosmos co-create each other through an ongoing dance of awareness and manifestation. The universe provides the field of possibilities, while consciousness chooses which possibilities become actualized. Every moment represents a collaborative, creative act between individual awareness and cosmic intelligence. But this collaboration requires recognizing our cosmic identity and learning to align individual will with universal purpose. When human consciousness operates in harmony with cosmic intelligence, extraordinary capabilities emerge naturally. When it operates in opposition to cosmic purpose, limitations and suffering result from this fundamental misalignment. The ancient spiritual traditions developed sophisticated practices for achieving this alignment between individual and cosmic consciousness. Meditation, contemplation, devotional practices, and ethical living were all designed to help practitioners recognize their true identity as expressions of universal awareness and learn to live from that recognition. Modern neuroscience is beginning to understand how these practices work at the brain level. Meditation increases activity in brain regions associated with attention and emotional regulation, while for self-referential thinking and decreasing activity in areas responsible for the maintenance of ego boundaries. Long-term practitioners show permanent changes in brain structure that correspond to enhanced well-being, creativity, and cognitive function. But these neurological changes might be secondary effects of deeper transformations in consciousness itself. The real change might occur at the quantum level, where individual consciousness learns to resonate more coherently with the cosmic field of awareness. The brain changes would then reflect this deeper alignment rather than cause it. This understanding opens extraordinary possibilities for accelerating human consciousness development. If we can understand through technology the quantum processes underlying consciousness transformation, we might be able to create technologies that facilitate direct access to cosmic awareness. Researchers are already field generators experimenting with electromagnetic that can influence brain activity in precise ways. Transcranial magnetic stimulation can temporarily dissolve the sense of self-boundary, allowing direct experience of unity with everything. Other technologies use sound, light, and electromagnetic fields to induce states of consciousness associated with mystical experience. These consciousness technologies might provide reliable pathways for accessing cosmic awareness without requiring years of meditation practice. They could democratize enlightenment, making expanded consciousness available to anyone regardless of their background or spiritual training. But technology alone might not be sufficient for authentic transformation. The spiritual traditions emphasize that genuine awakening requires not just altered states of consciousness, but fundamental changes in how we understand ourselves and relate to the world. Temporary experiences of cosmic consciousness must be integrated into daily life through wisdom, compassion, and ethical action. So here we stand, at the edge of the greatest revelation in human history. The universe isn't dead. It's gloriously, magnificently alive. And through us, it's finally learning to recognize its own infinite nature. This isn't just another scientific theory that will gather dust in academic journals. This is the recognition that changes everything. You are not an accident. You are not insignificant. You are cosmic consciousness itself, experiencing reality through human awareness, choosing the future of the universe through every thought, every choice, every moment of love or understanding. The cosmos has been waiting billions of years for this moment, for conscious beings who could finally recognize what has always been true. We are the universe awakening to itself, and that awakening is just beginning. Your journey into cosmic consciousness starts right now, in this moment, with this recognition. Welcome home.